before we get into the college football semifinal preview, we had the college football playoff quarterfinals here over this past week, and kind of let's look at some takeaways from this. I know EJ, you said that you really have been enjoying the format, and I think there's certainly, again, we've talked about the things that I think can get tweaked a little bit.
Yeah,
but I really am enjoying the college football playoff format. But Mike, I'll start with you. When we look at the playoff quarterfinals, what's kind of your biggest takeaway from the college football playoff second round?
All right. So we've talked on this show for the last couple of years, and there are three things in life that are certain: death, taxes, and the over. I found the fourth one. Death, taxes, the over, and Cam Scataboo. Because that guy is a goddamn tank.
He's a baller, dude. He really is.
Awesome.
He is the walking epitome of puke and rally, boys. I'm back. Because let's be very transparent. There was a lot of people, including people on this show, that were not understanding of why the Arizona State Sun Devils were in the playoffs, let alone were the 4 seed.
Right.
Guess what, guys? They earned every right to be in that playoff.
Absolutely.
With what they did in that football game. I will also say, please take all 7 of those officials, including the replay official, send them back to school, because what is targeting?
Seriously, man. Like
that was bad.
And also, like, let's if you're going to talk and go on these rants about what is and what isn't, at least have the common sense to find out what the rule in the league that you're going to be speaking as a quote unquote expert on is. Because I saw a lot of people saying, like, well, he didn't launch and he didn't do this, or there wasn't this, and none of those things are what is targeting in college football. In college football, it's forcible contact to the head or neck area. And man, you look at that, and it was a defenseless player. Those are pretty much the 2 criteria for targeting in college football. That was targeting.
Yes.
Like, period, game, set, match. You can argue with a wall if you want to. Like, it was targeting. They got the call wrong. Now, we don't know if Arizona State's going to go make that kick.
No,
we don't. So we can't definitively say Arizona State would have won this game if the targeting was upheld. Now, what we can say is they would have been in a really good position to win the game had the targeting been upheld. And not even upheld. Like, I think that's the part that really bothers me about it, is it was not called on the field. Right, wrong, or indifferent, not called on the field. Should it have been? Probably. However, they saw something in review that said, we have to look at this further. And then you had an official on the field and experts in a booth discussing it, and they decided, nah, fam, this good. What?
Yeah, I think that's more the frustrating part. Like, you guys missed it on the field, fine. I can look up and go, it's a fast game.
Yes.
Referee may be in the wrong position. Human error, aka shit happens. Like, I am not going to be that guy that's going to try to blaze the field a torch in crimson and burn it to the ground, because a human error potentially may have cost it. But when you have somebody that isn't on the field say, we need to look at this, and then you look at it and you still get it wrong, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Like,
that's why people call into question things about officiating right there.
Correct. And that in my case is where I will really plant my flag. The referee, the sideline judge, those guys, that's a fast moving game. You got 2 really fast teams, and you got to be moving with those guys. I get it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I could do it. Let's be very transparent. I'm fat.
No, here's the deal. I'll say this. I umpired a like a over 60 modified pitch softball league one time, and man, I'm going to tell every person that thinks it's easy to be an official, go down to your local youth baseball, football, hockey, whatever league, sign up to be an official. Go to your, junior high football in your area and go to your state athletic commission and, become a side judge. Like, and I criticize officials. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't, but man, what we are watching the game from a preferred TV angle with, crystal clear high definition, nothing impeding our view, where we don't have 7 foot tall 400-pound juggernauts moving around us at warp speed. It's very easy for us to see things, especially when ESPN pulls up a replay and shows us something in the split second after it happens. It is not an easy thing to do, for sure.
Yeah, that's the major thing that I learned. And that's the thing. We talked about this, and it's been a talking point of this show all year about the automatic qualifying, and sometimes the team don't deserve to be automatically in there. I will fall on the sword of Arizona State deserve to be in this playoff. Do they deserve to be the 4 seed? Maybe not. Do they deserve to be there and be a team in that situation? I think they proved themselves in that moment, in that game, that they'd at least deserved the invitation to be one of the first 12 teams in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the deal. It kind of goes along with my takeaway from the quarterfinal round is I still, you can go back to when we talked about this in the preseason. I don't like automatic bids. I get why we do them. I will never throw the flag up as to conference champions getting into the dance. Like, it's kind of like the same thing when now people seems like every other year in the NFL, we'll get there in a little bit, have this, division champ shouldn't get you a home playoff game, blah, 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 whatever. Well, then do away with divisions. Like, if conference champions shouldn't get into the playoff, do away with conferences. Just have everybody be independent. So conference champions get in, that's what I'm fine with. The buys, the automatic buys for conference champions, that's where I threw the flag even before the season started. And as it played out, and again, Arizona State made a hell of an effort out of it. Boise State, thanks for playing. When Penn State shut the run game down pretty quick, we knew how that game was going to go. So would this maybe the same 4 teams end up in the Final Four if we just give the buys to the top 4? I don't know, but to me, my biggest takeaway is the first fix that needs to happen, and it's reportedly already being discussed, is the automatic buys have to go away.
Now, if they go 16 teams, that's going to solve that problem.
No, you can do it even with 12.
I would stay with 12. I think 16. You're starting.
No, I agree. But there's already rumors out there saying that in the next 3-4 years.
Of course, there are. You left Alabama and Ole Miss sitting at home. I mean, I'm sorry. Of course, there's talk about it.
Yeah.
How'd Alabama do in their bowl game, by the way?
Boat raced.
Kind of cute, huh?
How'd South Carolina do in their bowl game, by the way?
Kind of cute, huh?
Lost
to Big Ten teams. Wow, that's even more amazing. I'll give Ole Miss credit. They at least won their bowl game. Doesn't mean you should have been in the playoff, but you at least won your bowl game. So congratulations.
Bama did dress all their guys too, right? All the starters, right?
Yeah, Jalen Milroe looked real good against that Michigan defense.
I'll tell you this: Michigan had more guys sitting out than Alabama did.
Really?
Yes, sir.
I did not know that. Wow,
yes,
that's crazy.
Sir. Just so everybody,
bad look,
and Michigan lost their quarterback 2 plays in to the third quarter and played Alex Orji for the rest of the game, who was 2 of 3 for 2 yards passing in the second half.
Can I argue this?
Just for the record.
A little hot take.
Go Oklahoma.
No, can I argue this though? Caleb DeBoer hot seat next year? Given that school and their history and what they expect expectations?
No.
We say no, but they do things up in Alabama though.
Yes, but here's the thing. When was Kalen DeBoer hired to be the head coach of Alabama? When in the offseason last year?
Pretty much. Was it January? January, yeah.
Okay, so let him get his first.
When was it? Let's see.
Well, remember Saban lost on New Year's.
Okay, Michigan. so the middle of January, because Saban I think retired in shortly after the game, and they probably had De Beers in there by the 20th. Yeah, so let's say January 20th.
January
So
12th.
Oh, okay, I was off by 8 days.
So he's not even been on the job for a full.
So he's not. Yeah, that's where I was getting at. He's not even been there a year. Let's let him get his first actual I've been recruiting this class since January of last year. Like, let him get in there. Let him hit the transfer portal without limitation, because the transfer portal, as we've learned on this show, opens December 7th, and he was still the coach somewhere else at that point.
Yeah.
So he's behind the 8 ball trying to get guys who want to transfer to go there. He's also finishing it up, and no disrespect to Jalen Milroe, but not his quarterback.
Right.
So I mean, let's
don't. Now, granted, you want to talk year 3 is a hot seat? Sure.
Correct.
You have another 9-4 season. Year 3 will be the hot seat.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think, especially with and when a coach leaves, okay, when a coach leaves, a lot of schools are going to have a panic flood out of recruits, players now in the portal era. So I don't think DeBoer is in a hot seat territory.
No, and for record, I agree with you guys. I'm with you. It should be that way. However, the hotbed football in Alabama and in Auburn, the way they think, that is literally a different mindset how they look at their teams.
You want to know how I know Kalen DeBoer is not on a hot seat next year? Brian Kelly still the head coach of LSU.
How do you? And here's the other thing: you give DeBoer's a small amount of leash because he's coming from an outside program. If they would have said Nick Saban's retiring and we're promoting the offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator goes 9-3, you can go, well, you sat in with Saban on all those meetings. You had an opportunity to keep recruiting. You had an opportunity to hit the portal. Okay, maybe the hot seat's a little bit there for the offensive coordinator, but DeBoer's is coming off a complete. I'm leaving a team. I'm coming into a new environment. I'm coming into a whole new conference, because the way that the SEC plays is not the way that they played.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 35 different hurdles, and then you have guys who have been in that program for 3+ seasons with arguably the greatest coach in college football history, Nick Saban, who runs a completely different offense. So now you have to teach a whole new offense, a whole new defense. You got to get guys to learn it. You got to get guys to be on board on it. Oh, by the way, these are the guys that are going to leave in a year and try to go play in the NFL.
Right. And also, here's the thing. Ole Miss, not going to win a national title. South Carolina, not going to win a national title. Tennessee, not going to win a national title. LSU, not going to win a national title. Georgia, not going to win a national title. You're welcome. And so really, the SEC's only path to a college football playoff national championship right now is Texas. Okay?
Overrated ass Texas.
And
the ugly stepbrother that they didn't want.
We'll get there, but Texas probably not going to win a national championship. So the one thing that DeBoer and Alabama have working in their favor is nobody else around them in their conference is going to hang a banner this year. So, Georgia lost 3 games. Tennessee lost 3 games. Texas is going to probably lose a 3rd game here real quick. So everybody in the SEC field has 3, 4, or more losses this year. So, if your college football playoff semifinal was, Georgia, Texas, and LSU, Ole Miss, it's going to look a little crappier for DeBoer. But with the way that the field ended up shaking out, I think he's in a pretty good spot for next year.
Yeah, I would agree.
EJ, what was your biggest takeaway from the?
No, I just mentioned a while ago. I just think for me, looking, and it's not to take away from Arizona State what they did, because they absolutely deserve to be there without question. But my God, Texas is overrated. Texas is not as good as we thought they were. At least even all year long, honestly.
Don't lump me into we. Check.
No. Right. I'm just saying in general.
Texas a fraud since
the general public. The general public, of course. I mean, maybe it's because of the parity, but I don't know, man. But it's just I watched them like this is not a top 3 school. This is not a top 3 school. I'm sorry.
I've called the SEC as a block. Not as good as advertised since about October 2nd. But Texas especially. So them. It looked like it was going to be a boat race, and then Arizona State went, Yeah, like they were very quick.
Not so fast, my friend.
You know,
There he is.
very quickly turned that game on its head. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, Texas is definitely, and like that's the funny part is the SEC now has to look to basically a Big 12 team to be their safe.
It's the stepbrother they didn't want.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to Texas, I think the big thing here, like, I can't put my finger on it because you watch the first half of that game and that offense looked explosive. It looked like it was coming off the ball. It looked like it was ready to go. Quinn Ewers looked like he was making good decisions. And then I don't know what the fuck happened. It's like the offense just went to sleep.
Is it a Steve Sarkisian halftime adjustment problem?
I think I honestly, I've said it on this show countless times. I called him out when they lost, that his offensive play calling did not work and that he needed to figure it out if this team was going to make a run in a college football playoff situation. That, you know, as I sit here and I listen to the Kirk Herbstreits and I listen to the Lou Holtz and I listen to the Pat McAfee's tell me that Sarkisian is this offensive guru and genius. I'm not gonna lie to you, that offense does nothing fucking for me. I mean, in the second half, it does even worse.
I mean, so I didn't watch the first round game because I was up with family, but that was a complete game, right? When they beat Clemson, right? Granted, opponent different, of course, but
I mean, Clemson came back late.
Yeah,
they did. Okay,
Clemson came back late and got into that.
I mean,
so looking at now, I will give Texas credit because I pulled up a couple of their games. The first game against Georgia, they were down 15-0 at half. They scored 15 in the third. Ended up then Georgia ran away with it in the fourth quarter. But SEC title game, Texas was up early. You know, Carson Beck gets hurt. Gunnar Stockton comes in, leads Georgia to victory. Then even in the games, the Vanderbilt game, Texas is up 21-10 at halftime. They only score 6 points, 2 field goals in the second half. Vanderbilt puts up 14 and almost wins that one. Against Arkansas, 10 points in the first, 10 points in the second, but then they give up 10 in the second. So maybe it's also a defensive problem. They're not able to keep teams there. 17-0 at halftime against Texas A&M. A&M scores 7 in the third. They don't get anything there. So this is kind of the story of the Texas Longhorns. They do their offensive work, and I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know if it's just the other teams playing against them have better coaching, adjusting for the second half or what. But yeah, they are a first half football team.
Yeah. No, it definitely feels like they're a first half team. I mean, look at the Arizona State game. 7 points in the fourth quarter, nothing in the third, and then 15 points obviously in the overtime to get to victory. So the reality of the situation is the last 30 minutes of football against the Arizona State Sun Devils, they scored 7 points. That's an issue.
So I guess what the problem with Texas is the fact they just can't put together a complete game at this point.
Yeah, they're a 30-minute football
team. And I don't get it. It's one of those things where like I like. Are we looking at them and saying, okay, like they went for 375, they had the ball for 22 minutes and 6 seconds in that game against Arizona State. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a defense problem.
Well, yeah, they're a Big 12 team.
Because here's the issue. Cam Scadaboo and the Arizona State Sun Devils ran for 215 yards in that game.
Scadaboo, I love that name.
When you're running,
like I imagine Chip Kelly has just been like sitting in his office, like licking his.
Mike, say it again, Scadaboo.
Scadaboo, Cam Scadaboo. I love it. So, but here's the thing: when you're letting up 215 on the ground, that means your offense is sitting there stagnant for a while.
That means Notre Dame and Penn State want Texas to find a way to win this Friday.
The time of possession. Arizona State, 37 minutes and 54 seconds.
Jeez, because Arizona State doesn't play like a typical Big 12 team.
No, they had 49 carries for 214, and the quarterback went 26 of 48 for 296 with a touch. And then Texas, 322 passing yards, 53 rushing yards. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's...
And 22 minutes of time of possession. That it almost feels like their defense, like Sarkisian's out there going, let's score a lot of points in the first half, and then just play defense the rest of the game.
I mean, we don't say death taxes in the over for Big 12 football for nothing. I mean, like that's kind of where that moniker came from. But
it's not just a cute saying, boys and girls.
Exactly. All right, but yeah, it was a fun. Well, for most fans, it was a fun quarterfinal.